Some sad news today that former Scotland manager Craig Brown has died at the age of 82. He was a wonderful guy, a great person who always made time for people regardless of your status, age, gender, and more. He just made time for people and loved to chat about football. He will be sadly missed. Alright everyone, we are back at Monday, the start of a brand new week, if your week does indeed begin on a Monday. I am certainly back after my most recent holiday, a week spent in Ireland, most of my time spent in Dublin. I was actually at the Republic of Ireland women's match against Zambia on Thursday. It was a pre-World Cup warm-up in Tala, where Celtic's very own Claire O'Riordan netted her first international goal, which was a lovely moment, and the Tala Stadium was pretty nice as well. In the meantime, while I've been away, a fair bit has been happening. We have actually had a number of videos going out. Most recently, the fan media press conference, the first fan media press conference with new Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers. Now that is available to watch in full by clicking at the top of the screen there. But I thought to kind of ease myself back into proceedings today, we could run over some of the interesting talking points from what he had to say to fan media. Maybe cover a couple of things as well. We are very much looking to the future now under Brendan Rodgers. Friday was the day when everyone started to dream, and it does still feel a bit surreal to me that he's back, but I can confidently say that I am hyped. Change is a very positive thing, I'm told. But we'll maybe expand on that a wee bit further into the video. Talking of change, it is old news now, but just in case you've somehow missed it, we did sign a fella called Odin Thiago Holm last week. He's a 20-year-old Norwegian central midfielder. He's joined from Vålerenga and he signed a 5-year deal, and we'll try and get something for you on him either later this week or maybe into next week, because I'll be honest, I know like literally nothing about him. I've not even watched the YouTube compilation. I assume there is a YouTube compilation. So yeah, we'll learn about him at some stage very soon on the channel. Now, as I say, I want to talk about, wait a minute, Brendan or Rodgers?
He always went for, and was actually because his surname was Postacoglu. What did he do for Lennon? Wouldn't be Neil. Be weird. Dyra. It was, what did he Ronnie for Dyra?
I'm going to go with Rodgers for now. Brendan just feels a little bit too pally. But anyway, regardless of that thought process, here is the first clip we want to play. This is a response to actually the very first question, which came from the Cynic.
And obviously when the club had asked me to consider coming back, I needed to see the infrastructure. And I have to say, when Michael and Chris came out and took me through where the club is at and what they've done over the last few years, from a manager's perspective, I was really impressed by that. You know, I think that maybe before when I was here, it was maybe a little confused in terms of recruitment in relation to bringing in players at that level, but maybe others from this level, whereas now it's, for me, and for a manager, it's what you want. You need the clarity. It was very clear. And when I see the evidence of that, and went through with Mark, spoke to him on the phone to get his feeling on it, and then I sat with him and seen the structure of that. It's first class from a manager's perspective.
Now, don't worry, I'm not about to do a deep dive into every signing Celtic made in season 2018-2019. I wouldn't do that. I am, however, going to read out all the names of players we signed in season 2018-2019, because when Rodgers talks about recruitment being a little confused, keep that in your mind here as I read out these players, right? Scott Bain, kind of squad player. I think even at the time, I think he was viewed as a squad player because we would have had Craig Gordon's our number one. Odsonne Edouard, you're thinking, what, 9 million we shelled out? That's a major signing. And then it just gets very weird this season, like scattergun kind of approach. While we're winning trebles, by the way, Emilio Ezagiri comes back. Daniel Arzani, Yusuf Malumbu signs from Kilmarnock. Filip Benkovic on loan. We had Oliver Burke on loan. Timothy Weah on loan. Vakun Bayo. Marian Shved. Who can forget the American pair of Andrew Gutman and Manny Perez. And of course, Jeremy Toljan on loan. I mean, it's a bizarre collection of players, and that is not just with the benefit of hindsight. Who knows how many of those players I just listed there Rodgers actually wanted to sign, and how many came from, other means with regards to recruitment. We know certainly some of that was going on, because I remember at the time Rodgers, the famous quote when Marian Shved was announced as a Celtic player, he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, we don't need another winger. Well, in fact, that might have been exactly what he said at the time. So it's clear that we were signing players that Rodgers didn't either know about or didn't really want to sign. And that's not to excuse Rodgers completely. He was obviously part of it. But it does seem to me now that things are very, very different at Celtic. Of course they are. We seem to have like a proper recruitment department with like a single vision, and a lot of that is down to Ange. How much of it is down to Ange's eye for a player as well, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, yeah, it does feel to me as if we have our ducks in a row now, recruitment wise, under Brendan Rodgers, and I think it's encouraging that Rodgers is coming back to a club that seems to have its shit together, basically. I doubt he would have come back to the club had the same maybe people and processes been in the same position as they were in like 2017 and 2018 and even early 2019. Things have changed at Celtic, and it just feels to me like Rodgers is coming in to a totally different club in many ways, and I think that's very, very exciting that he wants to come back, because it shows that things are interesting and exciting to him, and I think we should all feel excited about that as well.
My message, which will be to the guys this summer, because I've did it before here, we've won a treble, then won a treble again, you can't soften up. It's so important to stay aggressive in your game. So the guys are off the back of a fantastic season. And then, if you remember the last time, it was going to be always hard to replicate that, the level of football, the joy, everything, having won the treble. But we went back the next season. Maybe didn't quite play the level of football. That was going to be near enough impossible to achieve, but we got another treble. And then it felt like it was the norm then. So that season was really, really special. Always will be. And like I say, my look now is forward, and to all of that's in concrete. That never changes what we did back then, and that's a great moment of nostalgia. But for me now is to this next stage to be even more successful if we can.
Right, this was in response to a question from the Celtic Star on the Invincible season, his first year at the club in 2016-2017. Was it a magic carpet or a flying carpet that Rodgers just described it as there? I thought it was interesting, some of the stuff about like how you build on that, and it is very encouraging again that he has this experience of having done that. Now, we were nowhere near as good in 2017-18, and I have to point that out. We did, however, win a treble. So I think he is aware of what it takes to come after a treble and kind of go again, and there's so many players in this squad who are able to do that as well. So I think that's very encouraging. I think Celtic would have kicked on under Ange Postecoglou next season regardless, because that is the environment that had been created at the club, and with people like Callum McGregor there, I really don't think the squad would have rested on their laurels. However, I do wonder if Rodgers coming in could just be exactly what we need to just take us on to this next level. Now, as I say, I kind of touched on this in the intro, but I can confidently say that I am more hyped, more excited about the new season sitting here right now than I would have been if Postecoglou had still been in charge. And that is not a slight on Ange Postecoglou in any way. It is simply me saying that change is invigorating. The feeling of having someone fresh come into the club with fresh ideas and even like a fresh voice in press conferences is very, very exciting to me, and I think a lot of you will feel the same way. I cannot wait to see Brendan Rodgers back on taking training for the first time. Had it been Ange, you'd still got a bit of buzz starting the new season and all that, but you know what I mean? It's just, everything's just ramped up because it's someone new. I'm more excited for the Asian tour now than I was previously for some reason. The first game back at Celtic Park, the first competitive match, Flag Day, all of this stuff, Champions League. I'm more excited about everything just because there's something fresh there. And it did kind of get me thinking again as I go way off topic here. Like when Ange left, and don't worry, I'm not making this all about Ange, this is about Rodgers, but when a manager leaves Celtic, after 2 years, 2.5 in Rodgers' case, we do kind of take it quite badly because you want them to be there forever, and when they move, you kind of feel as if, we only got like 2 years out of that. We're hoping for 4 or 5. But as a manager coming in for even just 2 seasons, doing really well, and then moving on, really the worst thing for us as a club. Yes, we have to replace them properly, and it does seem like Celtic have done that with Rodgers, although obviously we'll have to wait and see how things actually play out before we can, make a definitive statement on that. But for me, as long as like the overall kind of long-term goals of the club, ambitions of the club remain intact regardless of who the manager is, and as long as the manager buys into that kind of thing, the greater good, to quote Hot Fuzz, then I'm not massively against only having managers for 2-3 years. Maybe 3 years would be the sweet spot, and Rodgers has signed a 3-year deal. Maybe after that things do start to go a little bit stale. You might disagree with that. It's just where I'm, coming at it from. If we replace managers well, then these things can keep going. Anyway, next clip, it's Rodgers answering a question from GigPod on his style compared to Postecoglou's.
There's maybe little tactical tweaks, but the game is pretty much the same. Celtic supporters want to see a high tempo game, fast football, progressing the ball forward, creating goals, scoring opportunities, and defending together. And with the supporters, then that makes us a real force. So I think there'll be little subtle changes over time, but as I said, I don't like the first time when I came in, it was a total rebuild of, for me, the structure of the team and how we played, by getting 4 players on the inside. Ange has done that by bringing, an inverted full-back in. I done that in my spell at Liverpool, where I had Emre Can coming in, who was a midfield player, playing a right back, coming in. So it's the team's in a really good place, and it's just a little fine tuning for me over the next few years, and bringing a different type of quality, hopefully, as well.
So fine tuning, as Rodgers puts it, as opposed to a total rebuild of the structure, which is not Bonnie Tyler's best tune. I just thought the comment about the inverted fullbacks was interesting, so I wanted to basically let you hear that. I don't know, I just speaking, overall, I just get a really good feeling that Rodgers is going to take this team to the next level, that everything is set up there for him to do it, and he is the perfect guy to do it. Maybe it's the sun. Maybe I'm just missed all you guys and girls, but I just feel good about things. Right, roll next clip.
I think arriving in here, like I said earlier, the start point's different. They're synchronised well. They're technically very strong. We would like some more power in the team, but technically very good. Tactically play the game to a really good level, and can we add that flexibility to the tactical idea in the team as well? So start point is different, and it's a great team to come into.
Right, this was in response to a kind of similar-ish question to the previous one. This one was from Celtic Fans TV about the makeup of the squad that he's inheriting in 2023 as opposed to 7 years earlier when he took over from Ronnie Deila. I must say my ears pricked up when Rodgers mentioned the want or the need for more power in the squad. I know a lot of you picked up on that as well in the comments after Saturday's video. In what way that happens, we'll have to wait and see, but that's something to very much keep in your mind for the rest of the summer with regards to transfers. I think we're going to get power in some way. So yeah, that was just 4 things that I wanted to pick out from the fan media conference. He's a very smooth operator, Brendan Rodgers, in the media. I think I had been guilty of forgetting that a little bit. He's kind of become this kind of light-hearted, comical figure with amongst the Celtic support. Maybe it was our way of dealing with him leaving in 2019, but all the stories of Clyde Tunnels and Danny McGrain in his ordinary clothes and all of that. And don't get me wrong, I find all of that stuff very funny. And I thought the okay that he did to the woman who shouted, did she shout like "God bless you, Brendan" or something? And he just went okay. I just thought that was brilliant, and I'm all for having a laugh about it as well. And we might continue to have wee laughs about things he says because he's quite a funny guy, whether he means it or not sometimes. But my big takeaway from all of this is he's a very smooth operator, and I'd kind of forgotten that a little bit. He seems very focused. My big takeaway from the mainstream press conference, which we don't have the video for, was how determined Brendan Rodgers looked. He said the words "I'm here to win" genuinely like 10 times in that press conference. That was the clear message for me. And yeah, this may be a famous speech that is clipped up and posted on certain forums in like months and years to come when this all fails badly, but I just don't get that feeling at all. I think he's coming in to a club that is starting to get serious. You know, in previous years when a manager like Postecoglou left to go to one of the top clubs down south, Celtic would not have hired Brendan Rodgers. Now maybe the stars aligned with that a little bit with him leaving Leicester, and maybe things are meant to happen like that. But I just think Celtic are getting serious here, and they have turned what was a major blow, Postecoglou leaving. Let's not beat around the bush. It's a major blow, or it was. They've turned it into this incredible positive, this massive jolt to the entire support that we wouldn't have got had Ange not left and had Brendan not come in. So I think the board deserve, real credit for that. And I just think it is so exciting for what's to come. Now, it doesn't seem like we're planning on ending our incredible period of dominance anytime soon. It seems to me like, if anything, we're only just getting started, and we may have greater things coming in the coming years, and Europe would probably be at the top of the list. That's the one major disappointment, and it is a major disappointment from the last 10-15 years. We have done nothing in Europe, and that's what I really think is the goal of this appointment. And if we can make massive strides in Europe, and we have a great chance to do it while Champions League group stage football is guaranteed, and that's obviously going to change into the Swiss system in a year's time. But it's very exciting. My laptop has just cut out, so the audio is probably gone weird. See you later, everyone.